All right, let's bring in our Indian Hasan Brown correspondent who will give me more information. Yes. It's time for Aruna now. Let me see if he's here still.
What's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on? Where's
What's
your
going
camera?
on? Hold on a second. My camera quality is gonna be kind of shit.
It's all good.
Yeah, because I'm at my parents' house at the moment. It's an extended Pongal break.
That's nice. All right. Let me just pop this out real quick.
Yeah.
All right. What's happening? What's going on?
So,
Talk to
um,
us.
so basically, what's happening in Iran and Pakistan right now is, in order to understand what's going on there, you have to basically understand this region called Balochistan. And Balochistan is a sort of region that um, that basically it basically straddles both Iran and Pakistan, and it is home to the ethnic Baloch people. Um, and the thing is, shit, my hair's all fucked up. But the the basically, so the people in Balochistan in both Iran and Pakistan have been basically, and Afghanistan as well, um, have been horribly mistreated by their respective governments. And that, for the past several decades, has led to insurgency within the region. Um, the one of the groups that so what started the Pakistan attacks in Iran was that Iran struck Pakistan in the Balochistan region, and the claim is that the from the Iranian side is that the people that they attacked were members of Jaish al-Adli, who is the successor militant group to Jandala. And Jandala is a separatist group in Iran that is, you can say it's a Salafist group in that is supposedly based out of Pakistan. What is uh, they're claiming they're based out of Pakistan, but they're most active in the Sistan and Baluchistan province in Iran. Um, and so, in response, what Pakistan did was they attacked what they considered to be, they basically attacked what they consider to be hideouts for the BLF and the BLA, the Balochistan Liberation Army, and the Balochistan Liberation Force, or the Balochistan Liberation Force, the BLF and the BLA. So the real players in here, so a lot of people are very tempted to think of it as like, is this an Iran versus Iran versus Pakistan thing? That is not the way you should be looking at this whatsoever. The way you should be looking at this is both the militant groups in their respective regions in Pakistan and Iran have been giving the state apparatuses of both countries massive trouble. And so what they're both trying to do right now is that they are trying to basically squash the Baloch, I guess, insurgent movements in both Iran and Pakistan. Um, I'll stop there.
Wait.
Is
So,
any
questions I have for you. um, Are they? Is the Balochistan Liberation Front? You said that they are not them directly. They're not Salafists, right?
No, so Baloch liberation. No, I said the successor to Jandala is. So the ones
Okay.
that Iran attacked were Salafists.
Okay. So, because the Baloch Liberation Army, is it still Marxist?
I mean, at this point, it means nothing at this point. Like, they're not really Marxist at this point. I mean, as far as like a lot of Marxism in South Asia, it's not as like, a lot of the Marxists in South
It's
Asia are
Marxist
not like,
nationalist movements,
yeah,
right?
it's more
For
nationalist at
ethnic
this point. Yeah,
liberation.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
it's basically more of a national liberation movement. Again, like all militant groups, they've also committed like heinous crimes against civilians as well. But the same, claims can be leveled at both the Pakistan and the Iranian states. So that's basically like what you can sort of say. So that's sort of the crux of this sort of conflict right now. As obviously you can imagine, a lot of people in Pakistan right now are very wired up, or they're very wound up about the whole situation, because uh, again, like as with a lot of people in the region, they can be fired up into nationalism very quickly, and likewise in Iran as well. Now, the reason I know about all this in the first place is because the stuff that I've been covering recently, as of late, was about the Baloch protests in Pakistan, as Nerd That Was Promised is mentioned. So basically, as of for like the past, sorry, go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Okay, so basically, for the past like, so basically for the past like for the past several decades or so, the Pakistani state has been effectively disappearing Baloches for like the past. They've been disappearing Baloches, basically accusing them of, terrorism. The standard, this sort of the standard talking points that you would hear. They are terrorists because they're supposedly affiliated with the BLF. They are BLA, so on and so forth, right? And
Yeah,
so they have been
as one
disappeared
does. As one
as
does.
one does, exactly, as any state does, right?
I would want
So
to
they,
know. I think it would be interesting. This is a suspicion, but I wonder what kind of surveillance technology they're using, and if it has any, if there's any credence there, or any kind of, I don't know, because like I remember reading a little bit about potentially China utilizing Israeli surveillance technology in their mass surveillance campaign against Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang under the boundaries that were identical to every other country that does stuff like this all the time. Whenever there's like a separatist movement, I wonder if
I'm
Pakistan would
not
have.
too sure about the. I don't know what the involvement with regards to surveillance is. A lot of the disappearances isn't like the surveillance state in Pakistan is not as sophisticated as what you would find in Xinjiang, not by a long shot. What you're basically just like what you're seeing is like it's been happening for decades at this point. This is not a new thing, right? And this has largely led to uh, what the Baloch have basically termed a Baloch genocide. There's been a systematic erasure. Yeah, so Jaish al-Adli um, is the Sunni Salafist
حملات
group
تروریستی این گروه
that is also a secessionist group in Iran that Iran claims to have attacked in Pakistan.
So here's the question then. These aren't joint operations, obviously, but is that the major point of contention here? Like, why is Pakistan upset if they themselves are also clearing out any kind of Balochist separatist movements in their own borders?
It's a mix of two reasons. So, and this is just me speculating at the moment. So the thing is, what has actually happened is Iran, when they attacked Pakistan, actually did kill civilians. So understandably, Pakistanis are very up in arms about that because when the obviously when you attack civilians as another state, you're obviously the citizens are going to be very pissed off, understandably so.
For sure.
But but it's always been that the Baloch separatism has always been sort of a hot potato between Iran and Pakistan. That's been the one thing that has kind of soured the relationship a little bit. And then the other factor in that is India, because India's involvement in all of this is that it is, to my knowledge, India has
stand by.
What's going on?
No, I'm just nothing. I'm just saying India is standing back and standing by. They seem to. I mean, they seem to appreciate it. I mean, they immediately. Well, I mean, it's surprising because wait, didn't they align with? Did they align with Iran or Pakistan in this?
India's more in line with Iran.
Yeah, which is
because again,
that's right.
They're more in line with Iran on this because so similar to how so whenever the topic of Kashmir is brought up with regards to India, India's usual talking point counter to that is Balochistan. And both states are right, both India and Pakistan are right in that human rights abuses were committed and continue to be committed in both Kashmir by both states and Kashmir and Balochistan. So the Indian state still continues to engage in war crimes as well as committing human rights abuses in the Kashmir Valley. But at the same time, Pakistan also continues to commit human rights abuses in Balochistan too. So it's both, right?
Chat,
So
he's
it's
not.
used as a
Wait, can you clarify your Kashmir position? I don't think you're saying that Pakistan is committing human rights abuses in Kashmir. You're saying
no, I'm
Pakistan is
saying
committing
India
human
is.
rights abuses in. You're saying India is committing human rights abuses in Kashmir, which is correct, and you're saying that Pakistan is committing human rights abuses against Baloch
Balochistan.
separatists. Yes, before
Not just
people
Baloch separatists, so Balochistan in
or
general.
Balochistan in general. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
So basically it's again the Baloch separatism has been a constant pretense within the Pakistani state as a way of basically just kidnapping and disappearing random Baloch students. So, for example, in like universities in Punjab province and Karachi University, for example, there have been random Baloch students that have been abducted by the Pakistani state, by the Pakistani police, on basically no suspicion whatsoever. And effectively, this had reached a boiling point in Pakistan, which has led to a mass movement, largely spearheaded by figures like Mahrang Baloch. Highly recommend you look her up. But there's a recent walk from Quetta, which is the capital of Balochistan, all the way to the capital of Pakistan, Islamabad. It was led by women, as chat says. Yes. So it was a movement that was led by women from from Quetta, Balochistan. We'll get to Gwadar in a second because Gwadar kind of is important here. From Quetta all the way to Islamabad. That's a long way. Yeah, they walked a long time, and once they reached Islamabad, you had obviously the cops and the army. Basically, it was mostly the local cops in Islamabad. Basically, attack, separate, do basically cop tactics. They were attacking protesters with water cannons, so on and so forth, and they were basically trying to send the Baloch back to Balochistan, basically. So so what I was saying, chat, was that in a similar way to how India has committed human rights abuses in Kashmir, in Kashmir, when those human rights abuses are brought up, India immediately counters that with, "Hey, what about Balochistan? Like, what about you guys in Balochistan? You guys are also committing human rights abuses in Balochistan," which is true.
Who's arming? Who do you think is arming the separatist movements there? Is there any testament to like? Because in a lot of instances,
Is very likely India, if anything.
yeah, I was gonna say in a lot of
It's very likely
instances,
India.
you will always have regional actors that genuinely work to arm separatist movements, or even if their cause is just. By the way, like Kurds are a great example of this. Obviously, like Kurds are 35 million in the region, ethnic minority that is stateless. They have an autonomous zone in like northern Iraq given to them by the United States of America, obviously. But like beyond that, there's not much. Beyond that, the United States will often arm Kurdish militias and then and support them until they fuck off, and then allow Turkey to come in and just wipe them out entirely.
Right.
Is there like a similar thing happening here?
Yeah, I mean, Balochistan is the Balochistan independence movement, however, like justified it is, and it is, in a sense, the material conditions for the Baloch people have been atrocious for the past several decades. I mean, right now, the desire for independence at the moment is very low in Balochistan, or at least in Pakistan right now, it's like 33%. But the material conditions for the Balochistan province in both Iran and Pakistan are, quite frankly speaking, they're atrocious. So Balochistan, the Sistan and Balochistan province in Iran and the Balochistan province in Pakistan are respectively the poorest regions in each country. And contrary to popular belief, CPEC, which is the Chinese Pakistan Economic Corridor, has not helped that situation either. Because a lot of the workers that are working, which is So Gwadar is another port in Pakistan, which is crucial for their deal at the moment. And so basically, one of the consequences is that the economic conditions for Baloch fishermen have actually worsened because of the economic deal, because Chinese workers that have been imported into the country, that have been brought into the country to work the ports, have actually have displaced the local fishermen in a way. So basically, and it's partially due to the fact that there is a constant. There's also sort of an ethnic sentiment angle in Pakistan as well, in that a lot of people within the Baloch, Saraiki, and Pashtun ethnic groups tend to be very pissed off at the Pakistani establishment, which has traditionally been dominated by the Punjabis and the Sindhis, right? So the current establishment right now, um, again, I'm just saying, like, this is an overall sentiment that I've seen, is that the current establishment of Pakistan is currently run, like, for example, the Bhutto family is largely speaking Sindhi. They're Sindhi speakers. The PML party that's why the PPP party, chat, don't laugh. The Pakistan People's Party is dominant in Sindh, right? The PMLN party is largely dominant in the Punjab province of Pakistan. And so, because for a long time, these two regions have dominated Pakistani politics, there's been a large resentment from places like Balochistan, KPK, even the Pakistan administered parts of Kashmir as well, Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. So there's also that angle to that as well.
This is all happening as in the aftermath of Imran Khan's ouster as well. Even though I feel like these are all things that were already occurring under his reign too, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, Imran Khan has not been the best of allies. I mean, the CPEC was really strengthened under Imran Khan's rule,
yeah,
which has worsened the economic conditions for the Baloch fishermen in Gwadar. But Imran Khan has also not been kind to other minorities, especially, like, the way I think of Imran Khan is that he's not as open, or he's not as directly beholden to American State Department interests like the current administration is.
yeah.
But he's no saint either, right? When he was in power, he was absolutely not kind to, for example, the Hazara ethnic group, who are originally from Afghanistan, but have left due to the persecution by the Taliban and the Mujahideen at the time.
So here, that's it. That's actually great that you brought that up, because it dovetails into what I wanted to talk about. Because, like, the current Afghan policy, or not the current Afghan policy, sorry, the current Pakistan policy of mass deportation is I mean, it's been happening since October. And
so the date to get rid of all the Afghans was November 1st. So
yeah.
the date to deport all of them has already been passed.
Yeah, and there are 4 million that reside in Pakistan, and an estimated 1.7 million, according to the Council for Foreign Relations, is undocumented. So my question there is, my question there, I guess, is that if this is a continuation of Imran Khan's policies, like, why is this still happening? Does America just look the other way? Because, like, the current administration is supposed to be way more pro U.S.
So I don't have a solid answer for this, actually, because, I mean, so I was talking about this with Animated Sarah on Twitter, who's in the chat right now, and we've been going back and forth about this as to, like, trying to figure out a reason why this might be happening. The thing is, America was actually giving money to Pakistan to keep those to keep Afghan citizens within Pakistan, especially the ones that have more recently come from Afghanistan to Pakistan. So this actually, Pakistan deporting Afghan citizens actually goes very much against American state policy, actually. So it's not my guess is, I think it ultimately boils down to it's just like they have probably the Pakistani state has largely thought of these guys as an economic liability, which is actually not true. These are basically so for the Americans in the audience, it's similar to how undocumented immigrants from Central America come to America. They work all the low paying jobs and they get treated like shit most of the time because they're undocumented.
Yeah.
In much of a similar way, the Afghans in Pakistan don't have proper citizenship. They don't have any proper documentation or anything. And they're forced to basically, work odd jobs, and they're forced to work very low paying jobs. Um, my
Another
guess
another
is
analog is Turkey with Syrian migrants, Syrian refugees. Turkey was
right.
paid by the European Union to the tune of billions of dollars, specifically so that the Erdogan regime could take in, so that the Erdogan regime would take in, to the tune of I think like almost 10 million Syrian migrants. That estimation varies. Some say 4, some say 10. It is not an insignificant amount. It's a very significant amount for a country that is not super wealthy, just like Pakistan. Uh, and the material interests there, as far as I understand it, are nearly identical. It gives you an opportunity to utilize this migrant population as a cudgel. You utilize this against the European Union politically. You can always say, "Hey, we will release the Syrian migrants into the Greek border if you don't, do whatever we want to do." And then also, it gives a political opportunity, I assume, to the Pakistani government, but it also allows you to do like domestic decisions as well and take advantage of the migrant population that you can force to do backbreaking labor without any sort of serious protections.
Yeah, I would generally speaking say that is the case in. I would generally speaking say that is the case in Pakistan. Like that, so they've been basically used as basically a free labor force in much of a similar way. And but the deportation has not of Afghan citizens has not just been first off, as animated Sarah said, Afghans that are refugees in Pakistan, many of whom are born and raised in Pakistan, they have known Pakistan as their home. They don't know anything about Afghanistan. They've never been to Afghanistan. They've never seen Afghanistan before. They have been basically forced. They've been packed in shipping containers, like the stuff that you would see on like U-Hauls and stuff, and they were dropped into Afghanistan immediately. But it wasn't just limited to that either. Um, it wasn't just limited to that either. There were cops that were taking. So Pashtuns are another ethnicity that straddle a border. In this case, the Pashtuns also straddle Afghanistan and Pakistan, right? So the Pakistani state, in addition to deporting Afghan citizens that were never allowed to become citizens of Pakistan, they decided to. There are cases of Pashtuns, ethnic Pashtuns, who are Pakistani Pashtuns whose family has always been on the Pakistani side of the border, by virtue of the fact that they are Pashtun. On top of the fact that Pashtuns are an ethnic group that straddles both sides of the border, they've also been deported. There are cases of Pashtuns also being deported to Afghanistan too.
Yeah,
There are also cases of that as well.
it's I mean, I don't know what to say other than it's just totally fucked. I still don't understand the timing of this back and forth with respect to the Pakistani retaliation, with respect to like the Iranian um with the Iranian first strike, that I find rather odd to do in this specific moment. Like I don't know why Iran is engaging with separatists in Balochistan when they're in the
It's
midst of a much larger conflict against Israel and the United States of America in the region.
Well, so another reason that they think, so this is why, I mean, another reason is that there are, and this is probably going to be the bingo moment for you in chat. There have been reports, again, I think the leader of the predecessor of the group they just attacked. So Jaish al-Adli, its predecessor was a group called Jandala. Um, And there have been reports that say that Jundallah received U.S. training and funding.
Wait. This is okay. Wait, can you confirm this? Iran's claim is that Jaish al-Dal am I saying that right? Or
Worked with
al-Adl?
ISIS-K and Mossad to help with the attack in Kerman. It was
Yeah.
related to the Iranian missile strikes in Iraq and
Yeah.
Syria. Very likely, yes. They view so yes. The Iran's claim is that Jaish al-Adli and his predecessor Jundallah are more aligned with the United States, basically. So that's why. That's another reason why Iran might be attacking these guys at this moment.
Okay. And instead of working I mean, I guess the thing I still don't understand is like why there's no cooperation within Pakistan and Iran in order to deal with um, potentially ISIS-K aligned Salafist militias that I suspect Pakistan itself would not be super fond of, unless this is, I assume, I don't want to make any assertions here, but I unless I assume that the American State Department is giving Pakistan leeway in dealing with Afghan refugees inside of its borders, specifically so that they can win curry favor within in the upcoming election, curry favor within um, the population that is like very angry about plenty of people, as far as I understand, are very angry about Imran Khan's ouster.
Yes.
And also looking the other way on the reality that everyone from his party are also being like arrested. It's mass suppression. It's like anti-democratic. These are things that America would usually use as just cause to immediately implement sanctions, immediately do like widespread condemnation. The American State Department has been suspiciously quiet on that kind of thing. And maybe they're quiet on that kind of thing because the current Pakistani regime is cooperative with the American State Department interests in opening up a new front, or rather moving the attention away from Gaza.
I would say that is
limited
a
bandwidth.
possibility. I would say that's a possibility. Nothing is confirmed quite yet. That's I would chalk that up to speculation at the moment. But again, I wouldn't put it past the current bilateral relations between America and Pakistan. I would not like if that was the conclusion. If that was the correct conclusion, I would not be surprised by that. Basically.
Okay.
In a sense, it's kind of like what Nerd is saying. Pakistan is significantly more loyal to the U.S. than to Iran in that case. So you could kind of say that Iran kind of views Pakistan with a bit of suspicion in that sense, because of Pakistan's more open or at least the Pakistan military's alignment with the U.S.
Yeah.
So that alignment might be a factor in a sort of hindrance that both Iran and Pakistan are between Iran and Pakistan cooperating on taking out these militants. But at the same time, I do want to say this, right? Again, it's very easy to get caught up in the sort of the geopolitics and the war games of it all, but there are real people living within both sides of these borders. Like I said earlier, right? Sistani-Baluchistan in Iran is the poorest region in Iran. It is the most neglected region in Iran, and vice versa for Pakistan. Balochistan is the poorest region in Pakistan by far. It's because both countries have treated their have been treating their Baloch populations like complete trash. When the Masa Amini protests were happening, there were also protests happening in, I believe, in Zahedan province, which is again a sister province to Sistan and Baluchistan. And the Iranian state they massacred roughly 100 people that were protesting again. Let me see the Amnesty International. Here's the Amnesty International link for that. Yeah, so in Iran there was a new wave of there was a there's a wave of protests that happened in the wake of the Massa Amini protests. And another angle that doesn't get talked about
The
with regard
Zahedan
to
massacre,
that,
is that what you're talking about?
yes, the Zahedan massacre, yes. So
Yeah.
roughly 100 people, roughly 100 people were
96
killed by the
protesters were killed, 300 injured. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically the thing to keep in mind, chat, is that there are real people living in these borders that have been constantly fucked over by both states. It's like that's the thing you guys need to understand. It's very easy to get lost in the theatrics of, is first off, chat, Pakistan is not going to nuke Iran. That's crazy. I don't know. I saw a couple of people in chat saying that, but no, obviously not. It's easy to get lost in the theatrics, but it's important to realize that like people are really being affected by sort of what Iran and Pakistan have been doing to them for the past several decades. There's a reason that there's still an independence movement in both Iran and Pakistan with regards to the Baloch people. It's very easy to get lost in that. It's very easy to forget that. So I just want to like keep that in mind as well. I just want chat to remember that as well, because
I mean, I think
those are the.
I do think that there's still, I mean, there's more that these governments could do for these people, but I do think that there's obviously external factors at play that make it even harder for any kind of global cooperation to occur or any kind of like genuine development to happen as well. It's something that you see in obviously poor regions in poor countries all the time. Not to say that that is the only reason, and there is no.
Right.
There's no real there's no real justification for security crackdowns on any kind of separatist or any kind of real separatist group whatsoever. I've maintained that consistently throughout my coverage of like Xinjiang as well. No matter
I
how
mean,
reactionary people might
my
get.
take is that yeah, there are going to be militant groups that are going to necessarily align with. I think obviously like the fact that the BLF and the BLA are, they've received training from India. I mean, again, allegedly, right? But I think I think that says more to their current political condition, that they have to they like a lot of people have been tired of the lack of due process in Iran and Pakistan locally, which is why they're reaching out to, India, for example, for help in that regard. And in that this happens all the time for militant groups across the world. That's always been sort of my take on that. What are the BLF and the BLA? So BLF are the Balochistan Liberation Force. BLA are the Balochistan Liberation Army.
Yeah.
Also, it's Bangladesh.
I mean,
it's
by
not
the way,
Bangladesh.
not dissimilar to like Israel offering healthcare to Al Nusra,
Yep.
as it was for the brief moments in time where they overtook like certain parts of Golan Heights. India, as far as I understand, according to the Hindu.com, gave BLA commanders medical treatment in India's hospitals, often
Yes.
under disguise or with a fake identity.
Yes.
So there's definitely
this is not the first time India has trained rebel groups. Just for the record, they've also trained the LTTE in Sri Lanka. This is not remotely the first time they've engaged in this behavior. Like India has also trained the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, or the Tamil Tigers as well. Again, that's another story for later, because they've trained the Tamil Tigers as well. So this is like militant groups seeking aid or seeking arms from India is not like a new thing in India's history whatsoever.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for
before we go. I have to hold you accountable for a couple things. It is
all right. Let's hear it.
Okay. First off, it's Bangladesh. It's not Bangladesh.
I know. Bangladesh.
Yeah. Okay. You literally You can say it in Turkish, brother. You can say it in literally. You can literally say it in Turkish and get away with it.
Bangladesh.
No, it's not Bangladesh. It's Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Bingo. Yes, you got it. There we go. There you go.
Okay.
I promised my I
Bangladesh.
promised my I promised my Bengali chatters that I would hold you accountable for that. So
Okay. I apologize to the Bengali chatters for saying it
it's okay
wrong.
because my entire chat is Bengali, so that's
It's
why.
okay. Fair. All right. What else?
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know what else. There's other shit that I need to.
You're gonna say and the chat was saying you said it wrong when you were right. Yeah. Okay. The other thing was probably that I shit on anarchists too much. So now the anarchist memes have seeped into your community when you make arguments. Is that what you're gonna say? I saw you
No, I
tweeted
wasn't gonna
something
say
about
that at all. It was more like, yeah, no, I mean,
that.
it's like not the biggest deal in the world, but like, yeah, I do have like I have dumbasses that come into my chat that are like that take the meme like super to heart. Like they don't realize that you're joking, and they're like they come into my chat and they're like, wait, what do you mean? Like, wait, people believe this shit? And it's like it's just a little bit annoying to have to deal with this shit over and over again. That's all. Like I have people that do come into my chat and it does get a little annoying, but
Yeah.
it is like it's not the biggest deal. Like it's just me like saying
I do always reaffirm the position that anarchists are at the forefront of mutual aid and direct
yeah.
action.
I've said that before. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always affirmed that too. Yeah. Also, like one more thing, like you brought me on. Like this is the second time you brought me on for a topic that's not Sri Lanka. We have to have that conversation,
Oh yeah.
as
No,
Little Bear said.
yeah, 100%. But
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for coming on once again and
Thanks for
enlightening
having
us.
me. I appreciate it
All
as
right.
always.
Bye,
All right, man.
brother.
Take it easy. Bye bye.
Peace. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Aruna now on Twitch. It serves their imperial interests. Imagine losing Afghanistan and Imran Khan also removed client state status by realigning with Russia and China. It would be unacceptable for the U.S. empire. His socials are all over the chat. You guys can see it, in the chat as well. So, interesting timing for this back and forth to occur. Who knows? I'm not saying with any certainty, especially because this is not that aspect of Pakistani or regional politics is not something that I'm going to going to act like I know a lot about. I don't. So, but yeah. Don't predict anything, please. Okay, shut the fuck up. You made Hasan read it. You're absolutely right. What is this? Of course it serves imperialist interests. Imagine losing, yeah. But it is weird. I'm just saying. It is a weird time for it to occur. And things that sometimes when you want to understand American involvement in an area, you sometimes have to look at what the bad stuff a government is doing and what is allowed and not being talked about. Okay? That's definitely something that you always have to remember. Like Turkey's bombing the northern Syrian corridor. Okay? That gets no coverage whatsoever in American media. Why does that get no coverage whatsoever in American media? But God forbid, if Erdogan was out there genuinely, if Erdogan was out there unironically, legitimately squeezing the gas faucet that is going into Israel, you bet your fucking ass. You bet your fucking ass, America and American State Department backed media would be talking about the ethnic cleansing that Turkey is conducting upon the Kurdish population in the northern Syrian corridor verbatim every single fucking day. Okay? But the reason why they don't talk about it is because no matter how much Erdogan speaks from one side of his mouth about Israel and about Israel being bad and about, Israel is in the wrong here and Israel is wrong. Satan Yahoo, 1 minute, you are going to hell. No matter what he says, ultimately, the reality is his son's still using their own shipping containers Okay, his son's own shipping company is still obviously doing commerce with Israel regularly. And also, the pipelines coming from Azerbaijan that go through Turkey, that go into Israel, that supply Israel with around 40% of their energy are still very much in operation. So, that means Erdogan gets to do whatever he wants. Okay? Why does he get to do whatever he wants? Because he's still operating with America's permission. Okay? You have to remember, it's not always what leaders say. As a matter of fact, Turkey, Erdogan at least stands for his country. Is he really in business with Israel? Yes, very much so. I'm telling you once again. And by the way, most Arabs don't know that. Yes, most Arabs don't know this. Guys, Jeremy Scahill didn't know this. Come on. And he is a very informed investigative reporter that has like literally covered the region for years. People don't know this because it's not even remotely brought to anyone's attention because everyone is hyper focused on this. Most of this is theater. In many ways, it is no different. In many ways, it is no different than what Joe Biden says. Okay? It is no different than what Joe Biden says, where he goes, oh man, you know, Israel, cut it out. Israel, stop this. Okay? Israel, stop the violence, please. While simultaneously giving Israel weapons. This is also precisely the reason why I find it really funny when Westoid, Angloid-brained Amerifats try to fucking cover this regional conflict and then simultaneously come to me and my fucking doorstep and try to tell me that I have an unnuanced perspective on this matter. Okay? I'm sorry. You're a fucking pathetic little moron with no knowledge whatsoever. Keep covering drama, is what I say to any and every Westoid that tries to fucking cover this issue and then simply says, Hasan only says America bad and nothing else. Okay? You got no hose and you got no knowledge. Some of this stuff you're not going to be able to find on Wikipedia pages, okay? That's it. That's how you arrive at the conclusion that Recep Tayyip Erdogan is the president of Israel. Meanwhile, the Houthis have claimed another attack on a U.S. ship. Okay? The Yemeni group says in a statement that it fired naval missiles at the ship, the Chem Ranger, and achieved direct hits. Earlier, we reported that the UK Maritime Trade Operations Group said it had received news of a security incident around 85 nautical miles off the coast of Yemen. And a U.S. official confirmed to Al Jazeera that it was following a security incident related to an attack on a ship from areas controlled by the Houthis in Yemen. The Yemeni armed forces confirmed that a retaliation to the American-British attacks is inevitable and that any new aggression will not go unpunished. The U.S. once again carried out strikes on Houthi targets inside Yemen earlier today, though comments made by President Joe Biden cast doubt on their effectiveness. Abi Türkiye NATO'ya katılır mı? Kardeş, Türkiye NATO'ya belki gelecekte katılır, bilmiyorum. Daha mı katılır, nasıl katılacak daha fazla bilmiyorum. İncirlik 2. NATO Türkiye'ye katılır. Masadayız. Masadayız kanka. Masa biziz. Masadayız. Masa biziz. Şaka maka harbi Antalya'da masadaydık ama. Ukrayna, Rusya. Ukrayna, Rusya konusunda masa bizdik. Amerikalılar ve İngilizler kıskandı. Kıskandılar. Bizim diplomatik bizim diplomatik gücümüzü kıskandılar. Boris Johnson Osmanlı olmasına rağmen gitti dedi ki Ukrayna'ya siktir edeceksiniz Türkleri dedi. Antalya'da yapmayacaksınız mı dedi. İsviçre'ye götüreceksiniz dedi. Neden? Kıskanıyorlar. Kıskanıyorlar gücümüzü kıskanıyorlar. Masalarımızı kıskanıyorlar. Masa biziz. Remember when Erdogan whipped his deputies to vote to allow U.S. troops to invade Iraq from Turkey? Turkey to vote on allowing U.S. troops to attack in Iraq? No, don't show this, man. You don't understand. He's a big ally. He's a big ally to all Muslims, dude. He's the defender of the Ummah. Okay, shh, don't say it. Erdogan and what is this? Jason Hinkle, the number one defenders of Palestine. Okay, it's so funny. It's my favorite. Is they love Palestinians. Oh, 100%. Anyway. Timeline of U.S. and ally strikes in Yemen. January 11, strike on 60 targets in 16 locations targeting Houthi anti-ship cruise missiles, anti-ship ballistic missiles, drone, radar, air defense, and CNC facilities. January 13, strike retargeting Houthi radar site struck in the first attack wave. January 16, strike targeting 4 Houthi anti-ship ballistic missiles ready for launch at maritime targets. January 18, strike targeting 14 Houthi missiles ready for launch at maritime targets. January 18, strike targeting 2 Houthi anti-ship missiles ready for launch at maritime targets. Is the U.S. actually targeting Houthi targets inside of Yemen? Anyone on chat could tell me if you already touched on this point. No, they are. They are. Except it is a violation of, I guess, any kind of sovereignty that any kind of country could have when America chooses where and when to attack. And I mean, I guess it's like basically a continuation of at the very least America's proxy war that it has waged against Yemen by way of UAE and Saudi Arabia for much longer than this past year. Yeah. The problem is, does this actually solve the Houthi blockade? If the issue is stop the Houthi blockade, and you have only one solution to that, which is the most Westoid Amerifat version of events, which is bomb into submission. Okay? If that's your fucking, if that's your approach to the matter, and it has demonstrably failed, and the endless bombing campaigns have reinforced the Ansar Allah government's position overall. To be fair, considering the Houthis are fighting the government of Yemen, I doubt the U.S. strikes do not have the government's blessing. So that's a really funny and interesting approach to the subject matter. Ansar Allah controls 70% of the region that has 70% of the Yemen population. And also the official government of Yemen is, when you say the official government of Yemen, you mean the internationally recognized government of Yemen. In many ways, you might not agree with Maduro. I certainly don't with a lot of the things that he does. Okay. But ultimately, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, Juan Guaido is the real leader of Venezuela, and continue fucking saying Juan Guaido is the real leader of Venezuela. Okay? The ousted government that gets that operates within Saudi boundaries is not going to be the officially recognized government of this nation state. Not only that, but also even his own generals, okay, even his own generals in the aftermath of direct American bombing have literally come out and lent support after years and years of endless fighting. They have also they have also literally turned around and lent support to Ansar Allah anyway. Because if there's one thing that unites almost every single person in the region, beyond the sectarian violence or whatever you want to call it, is when they see Muslim populations get pulverized by America's most important ally. Okay? Israel's actions are not seen as like the actions of Jews or whatever the fuck the Western media, whatever the boundaries of the Western media operates in. Is there anti-Semitism? Certainly. But when they see Israel strike, they recognize it as America striking. That's why even Hasan Nasrallah, right, the general secretary of Hezbollah, has corrected the record time and time again, speaking directly about Israel's actions and even anti-Semitism in the region. He's like, this is not like, there are definitely Arabs out there who think, oh, you know, Yahudi this, Yahudi that, and it's the Jews or whatever. There's certainly anti-Semitism. However, the real battle that we're waging is not against Jews, it's against America. Okay? So this is something to remember. And when America directly goes in and starts bombing a country,
as the world's attention is still largely
many people are going to turn around and go, okay, this fucking bullshit. America's most important ally in the region of the Saudis, Israel doesn't give a damn about profit. No, I mean, ironic because even the Saudis are not too fond. What? America's most important ally in the region of the Saudis. Yeah, here's the thing. Ironic because even the Saudis actually do not appreciate the bombing campaign in Yemen. One, because it completely dismantles any kind of like Saudi-backed administration from coming to power regardless. And it also ruined the China-led ceasefire and peace agreement that was conducted between Saudi Arabia and Iran. That was very beneficial for Saudi Arabia. Why was it beneficial for Saudi Arabia? Because Saudi is doing the charm offensive. They're whitewashing, they're sports washing. They're always like, hey, guys, don't even think about what we did in Yemen. Don't even worry about that. That's in the past. We have a golf tournament here. Please come enjoy the golf. Remember, that golf tournament is not going to be fucking awesome and fun for the Americans that attend, if they do even attend it, when there are literally Iranian rockets that Ansar Allah or the Houthis are lobbing in the vicinity of the golf tournament, okay? Ain't nobody's going to go watch UFC when they're worried about fucking rockets coming and hitting whatever stadium they're at, okay? So it fucks up the Saudi bag too. America's involvement right now, America's involvement with Yemen right now fucks up the Saudi bag. 100%. Yet another instance where America is operating on like the old ways that it used to operate. Okay. Which is unfortunately not how things are any longer. Unfortunately for America, that is. That is, to a certain degree, multipolarity. I mean, American military bases protect all of Saudi. That's a wrong assessment, Hasan. Yeah, dude. American military bases protect all of Saudi, but, you know, missiles still make their way to Jeddah. Missiles still make their way to oil refineries. You know? Just something to consider. When that happens, it's yet another reminder It's yet another reminder that, you're not doing a good job with your charm offensive. Do you think China is mad at America fucking around in Yemen after they brokered the ceasefire? Fuck no. China is. If there's anyone that's making out like a bandit from this current geopolitical chaos, it's China. They get to literally not do anything, sit back, and by genuinely not doing anything, they look like the reasonable. They look like the reasonable guys in the room. Inevitably, they don't have to do anything. They're applying the technique that I've said Osama bin Laden should have applied, which is kick back and let the Republicans run the country into the ground. Now, of course, back then, when you thought about Republicans, you thought about neocons, you thought about like warmongers. Now the Democratic Party is doing that shit too. China gets to maintain its allegiances with Israel while simultaneously every now and then saying stuff like, the Palestinians are human. The Chinese delegation has decided Palestinians are human beings and Israel should maybe cut it out. Okay? That's it. That's literally it. That's all they have to do is kick back. They fucking make out like bandits in this situation. So obviously, when I talk about America bad, there's the moral framework that I operate on, which is America is doing a horrifyingly bad job of, destabilizing this region and killing people directly and killing people indirectly, but usually with American bombs. But then it's also not even pragmatic. There has to be some people within the State Department that recognize that America's actions, and I do believe that there are people in the State Department that recognize that America's continued support of Israel is no longer beneficial, but legitimately harmful. Okay? You always say America bad. What is the worst America has done? The worst? I don't know. It's a long fucking list. Not even starting, but the war on terror. You're right. This is China's Ukraine. What do you mean China's Ukraine? I mean, you could say China is China's Ukraine. Same situation with Ukraine. They don't have to do shit. They offer like a little bit of support to Russia by not directly criticizing Russia. And then they just sit back on that front too. Those are all genuine dubs for China. Slavery or nuking Japan twice? Exactly. Now, I'm not like a BRICS guy at all, for the record. I think you guys know this already. I think that's a laughable notion. I'm not like a big BRICS guy at all, right? The way I see it is that all these other countries that are in the periphery or, former direct allies or even client states to a certain degree see China as a rising power and use China's position as a way to hedge their bets, as a way to leverage their relationship with the United States of America. That makes perfect sense. How is war on terror bad? Do you love terror? Yes. How is the war on terror bad? Do you love terror? That's so funny. Dude. I know it's a joke. It's a good joke. I love that. The guy who this worked on, the one guy in the United States of America that this framing works on is like, what do you mean? I don't understand. Do you like terror? What the fuck? It's kind of fucked up to say it, but I think it's better that China runs things like this without getting involved. If they bring up Palestine flag too much, it would be a third world war for sure. I'm just afraid something might happen in Taiwan with all this chaos. I mean, I don't know.